Hello and welcome to the video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the later version of this radio here. Now this is the original jumper T8SG that I looked at in November 2017, and it is one of those radios that has the multi-protocol setup inside, so it will connect and run to pretty much everything: FrSky, Walkera, FlySky, DSM2, DSMX, Spectrum radio stuff. So this is a great upgrade for those little toy style radios that you tend to get with things like indoor flyers and stuff, as well as if you wanted to pass this on to another pilot, or maybe you had a plane that you wanted to give to a younger family member to learn to fly. This was a cheap and cheerful way to get a radio that would bind to that receiver and get them up in the air flying. Now the interesting thing with the T8SG, and I think I talked about it at the time, is that although it looks the right size, when you put it by the side of something like a QX7, you can see that it is a lot smaller, which for some people with smaller hands is a little bit of a bonus, because it means you can get to everything, but it isn't that small that when you're using it, it doesn't feel too much like a toy. It's quite lightweight, but the quality of the construction on this was pretty good as well, and it's been superseded. There are two new versions of this now, and this is the most expensive one. Now I'll put links in the description to have a look at both of these. So this is the Jumper T8SG Plus. You've probably spotted it's a different colour. You definitely wouldn't lose this in the grass. Very similar size, but the plastics have changed completely, and there's quite a few changes around the actual radio itself. Some of them are a pretty big deal. So what I thought I'd do is get hold of one of these and actually show you what's changed, and if you're looking at them, kind of talk about what you get for your money. Now again, this is the T8SG Plus. This is the most expensive one with the biggest screen in here. So let me just run through very quickly all of the things that's actually changed on this little guy. So obviously you've spotted changes in plastics and the colour of the enclosure. I think that is very much going to be a love it or hate it feature. I think having this yellow plastics does, for a lot of people, make it look a little bit like a toy radio, but don't be fooled. This again is using the deviation software, so it's going to look, run and behave just like all of those other radios. The other big change here is it's got a USB port at the top, as well as having the 3.5mm jack for audio. It also has the USB port up here. Now in the old one, that USB port was hidden away, and it was a bit of a bugger to get through to do updates and changes and settings, things like that. So they've done a great job and actually popped that on the top. That's also going to make it easier to try and use it with computers for joysticks and stuff. Same removable antenna. Has the SMA style connection at the top. The other one had that, so if you wanted to change the antenna for something else that you fancied, you absolutely can. The navigation button layout has obviously changed. They're much nicer. They felt a little bit plasticky and they weren't raised enough, so if you're trying to feel your way around in the dark, you kind of couldn't very easily, particularly if you had cold fingertips. With this one, it's a slightly different proposition. They're nicely raised. They have little pieces on, so you can access and navigate the menus with ease, and it means that they're easy to get to. The screen, as you can see, is beautifully backlit. We'll come onto the screen in a second. So if you're flying at dusk, finding the buttons by the side of the screen, I found this a lot easier, particularly when it's against that very yellow plastic. So the switches have changed. There were 4 3-position switches and 2 rotary controls. They've been upgraded on here as well. So now there are 3-position switches, the same 4 at the front, plus you've got 2 2-position switches here in the shoulders, and you've also got 2 sliders on each corner. No center indents, sadly, but those will be handy if you're playing with a gimbal, or maybe have a simple pan arrangement on an FPV camera. The nice thing is they've actually labelled all these switches beautifully clearly now. I found this when I'm setting it up a lot easier to see that. Again, that's probably the black text again on that very yellow plastic. The other big deal is it has a JR bay. Now the other one, if you look at the back, had nothing at all really. It was just blank plastic. Having a JR bay is a massive deal. Again, inside here is the standard 4-in-1 setup, so it'll bind to pretty much everything. But this isn't just a cover. What they've done very cleverly is, as well as having the standard JR bay that you can put anything in, this is actually a little box. So if you wanted a third-party adapter or something else that you wanted to put in, you just undo these 4 screws. You could drill out the top for whichever antenna that you're going to use. I think that is a beautiful idea. I think they should sell that on its own. I would definitely need a couple of those for little things that I've been playing with other radios. Sound effect module installed. These, believe it or not, are Hall effect gimbals. The gimbals on this feel so much nicer, and the centering is so much more positive than the one on the original. The one on the original was fine, it worked okay, but going back to them after playing with these Hall effect gimbals on here is a bit of a tricky one. I found on my radio that the centering wasn't perfect, went through the calibration routine in the deviation menu, and they center absolutely spot on, and they feel beautiful as well. Very, very silky smooth. Maximum channels increased from 10 to 12, and it has this OLED display, which again is backlit in that same yellow color. Goes off after a little while. You can set up in the menu how long it stays on for, but again, when you're flying in dusk, along with the power LEDs around the power button, it is very easy to use in lower light conditions compared to the original. Looking at the battery bay, there are a big hole at the bottom. It comes with an adapter for 4 AA style batteries to power the unit, or I've actually been using it from a little 2S LiPo battery. The space inside is quite big, so pretty much any spare 2S LiPo will probably slide in the back. That means that you're not having to mess around with specialized batteries either. Again, just like the original radio, it comes in this travel pouch with a lanyard, manual, and there's all the other pieces, but the box itself is a very sturdy thing that it comes in. So they've obviously spent a bit of time, effort and money here trying to up the quality of this thing and turn it into a radio that's no longer just the minimum amount to put around a 4-in-1 module and the deviation software, but actually something that's a little bit more serious. So in summary, what do I like? Well, I actually really like the radio. I think there are a lot of times when this would be the perfect thing. If you were looking for a radio that maybe you wanted to replace something that came with an indoor flyer, or you maybe wanted to reuse some of those older receivers for that old radio that you've sold and you need something, this would be a great option. The fact it's got the JR bay at the bottom, USB at the top, the sliders and everything else actually make it a very neat little package. This radio has just moved into the big leagues in all things apart from its physical size, and I'm not sure if that's something that's going to hold it back. This radio is about £100 now for this T8SG Plus model that has all of the latest and greatest specs, but it is significantly smaller than a traditional size radio, so for some that's going to be a bit of a problem. But I know lots of people who have played with the original T8SG who've had a very good experience, and it fits their smaller hands better, and you can even do it with for pinchers. These sticks are adjustable on both radios, and this would mean that you can have a lot of those really nice features that you get on FR Sky and other radios in this kind of smaller form factor, with the benefit of that 4-in-1 module. So in summary, this is a very nice radio for the money, but I think that Jumper need to be a little bit careful about adding this much technology into a small form factor and starting to charge the kind of money that will start to get it into competition with some of the radios that have a little bit more about them. If you found that video useful or like the content, then please hit the like and subscribe button down below. If you want to go the extra step, you can become a Patreon of the Painless 360 channel and help provide support for what I do here. All the videos created here are put into playlists, so if you're interested in a particular topic, have a look at the playlist, and they all are organised in there to make them easier to use. If you're not sure if there's a video for your particular problem or topic you want to know more about, then add Painless 360 to the Google search term that you're interested in, and that should find the video, article or content about the particular thing that you're interested in having a look at.